Hi guys, what's up? It's Shanny with Healing Elements. So you have to forgive my eyes because I am coming on to tell you that they are extremely swollen, they are extremely red, and it's good because that means I was able to express emotions and get, my feelings out. So this is being added. I want to add this to my yoga log, my daily yoga log, just because I figure, on there doing yoga, posting. So again, every once in a while I will put the picture in picture here and talk to you guys. So on the 1st of August, if you guys haven't seen my videos, my father-in-law passed away. My father passed away in 2011. And so since 2011, 10 years have gone by, and I have been to one funeral. It was tragic. My cousin's infant passed away from heart surgery. Under a year old. That was really difficult. However, beside my, tower moment, trials, tribulations in 2018 when I was suicidal and just was a hot mess on, the coping, in an unhealthy way with the wine and all that. That was extremely difficult for me, challenging, but it wasn't a loss that I experienced that, not only touched me, hurt me, affected those I love very much. It also, of course, brought up for my mom and I both, who are very close to my father-in-law, brought up pain from, of course, my father's passing 10 years ago, and yesterday was the funeral. So yesterday was the funeral, and it was literally the most gut-wrenching, very, very dramatically sad scenario, especially in the beginning. My husband had not had closure yet. He had a sudden stroke and was 2.5 hours away, and so we were not able to get to him, and he passed suddenly. And so yesterday they had a viewing, they had an open casket, and it was the first time for my children, myself, but most importantly him, Aaron, to have closure with his father. And so for me, it was obviously my role to be of support for my husband, my kids, and also grieve for my own loss for Marco. Just a wonderful person. I can't say enough about him, and I talk a lot about my dad, which you guys know if you follow my channel. If not, that's something that I do for my own way of either grieving or memorializing. So, I will start mentioning, you'll hear me talk about the Libra. The Scorpio is my dad, Tom, and the Libra is Marco. So, I swollen, but I wanted to talk to you guys about just how wrenched in pain I was after the whole day was over. So I was a support mechanism, definitely held it together, grieved and mourned, and I paid my respects. However, I was a pillar, of just being there for support. My husband had never gone through that, especially open casket. The only funeral he'd been to was my dad's, and we had him cremated and had to urn and did a memorial type thing. So it was definitely his first time, as he said in his own words, seeing a dead body, especially being his father. So it was really rough, but I was there for a pillar support. But then, I did the typical, Piscean or healer thing. I wasn't suppressing, but I was saying, okay, I'm going to wait till a moment until I can let this out, and I'm not going to force it. It's going to come. And so last night, reading, ironically, my daughter got me at the library during all this, which is always correlated, right? Life After Life, Raymond Moody's book. I've, seen him on documentaries and YouTube videos and appearances and interviews. Raymond Moody, who researches near-death experiences. I've seen him for years, but I had never read the book, and so she got it for me. And ironically, I'm reading the book, and then my YouTube is playing on autoplay, and of course the signs come in, and it comes in, and this gentleman, he's speaking in German, but the subtitles are on, and I catch that he's recommending to read the book Life After Life, and he starts talking about the life review in pictures and movies, and I was right at that part in the book. So that, for whatever reason, was just a trigger. It triggered me to let out the pain and the anguish of losing my father-in-law, and also just the sadness that that had accumulated yesterday. It was traumatic is the word to explain it. It was so sad. My nieces are very young, one of which is under 5, And she, unfortunately, was being babysat by my father-in-law, her grandpa, who they're best friends, and he is extremely close. It's an understatement to his grandkids, his two daughters, Erna and Kimberly, who live in the same city. We're 2 hours away, or about an hour and a half, with no traffic. So Isabella, my niece, she was the one who was with my father-in-law, and nobody knows how long he was unconscious or whatnot from the stroke when my sister-in-law, Erna, discovered him. And so that was her trauma. And then, of course, she had never been to a funeral. And yesterday, the open casket, when we all walked in together, it was more, emotional and gripping and gutting than anything I'd probably have seen. It was, her asking her grandpa to wake up. She was like, Papa, wake up. And she was just sobbing and crying, and just this innocent child looking at, her grandfather laying in rest and unable to wake up. And that was her first realization. I think, obviously, I can't speak on it exactly, but I think that was, part of her, or will be in her future, part of the trauma in her, experience with her grandfather's death. And so that was the beginning of the services, and that went on she just gripped the coffin, and they were trying to calm her down, and everybody you can imagine, just sobbing. And it was just, for me, everybody knows that, or everybody, I believe, in the funeral home knew that it was just a vessel, his body. I do not favor open caskets, only because I just feel as if it's maybe for closure, I think, so I'm not going to put my opinion out there, but I think just to having watched a few open caskets, including what I mentioned earlier, my cousin's baby, just looking beautiful dressed there. Oh, gorgeous child, and just loving, and just such a sweetheart. And just to be there and have that realization set in that, yes, they are there. What is the representation of them in the physical? But yet you are unable to, as Isabella sadly exclaimed, you cannot wake up Papa. So, just trying to come on and be real with you guys and let you know this is the healthiest way that I've ever kind of reacted to something so hurtful and something so important to me in my life. I'm not saying yay me, because Lord knows we all are works in progress. We all have our moments. But that being said, I just did not, I did not hesitate to get up yesterday and do a morning sunrise yoga service for him, and prayer and candle in the park, and put my energy in that way. I didn't hesitate to last night let it out and cry like I had not cried since my dad's death, just in my pillow, just letting it out, having seen my husband and my kids, my son, who looks identical to both my dad and his dad, cry. And so just wanted to let you know I plan on being true to my commitment, keeping on doing the yoga every day. This is day 34, and I think that it is so poignant and so tied in together that I did start this right before this devastating stroke. And my dad had a devastating stroke in which he was hemiplegic and didn't speak for 7 years before his death of lung cancer. So, it's heretical. It's in my genetics. I'm already on blood pressure pills, and I had, as you may or may not know, I had gained a lot of weight and then continued to after I had a miscarriage in 2019. And so that being said, just eating things like I'm not supposed to for my own risk of having a stroke or heart attack, right? So between changing my eating habits in May, kind of having this precognitive and just knowing that, not that it was the last straw, but that let's go to Disneyland, let's have some joy, and then let's deal with the tower moments. So that is a positive that I'm, not feeling at all like the old me, like 10 years ago, calling my doctor right away and saying, what can you give me for this pain? He's like, let me call you in Xanax, right? That being said, hey, if you need that in your life, I know how crippling anxiety and panic can be. So if you are able to do, unlike I was able, I was not able to moderate. I was not able to appropriately take the medicine after a while. I found it to be a crutch and I misused it, and so that's my bad. But that being said, I just was proud of myself. I was a little like, okay, making baby steps toward healthy coping, toward dealing with humongous life, occurrences that are tragic and or impactful in a painful or emotionally gripping and startling, jetting way. So guys, I will continue today, day 34, and then I think what I'll do the next time I speak on this is I will do a voiceover and I'll explain the moves that I'm doing, how I'm modifying it for my back, like the back surgery. I had back surgery for ruptured discs, and then I'll kind of take you guys through if anyone wants to join me. I know that Casey, what up, girl? I'll try to tag you in this video, or I'll try to send it to you and tell you what minute I shouted you out. You're beautiful and I love you, and it's so important to shout other people out who are just being positive and doing them, and I want to empower you and everybody else who's just themselves, right? And I want to, not degrade, and I don't want to dishonor, but I want to really truly give you permission to discount and ignore and truly put into perspective how much fodder and how useless it is to pay attention to the alternative, to other people who are doing the opposite, not empowering you, not wishing you the best no matter what you've done, whether you know each other or not. So Casey, if you still want to do this every morning, you can jump in even if I'm like a month, a year ahead. Anyone who wants to do this, literally, I'm telling you guys, I said it before, it's pretty much pathetic and a cop-out. This super cheesy Pisces, yep. Bay Area, Plains. But, I find it to be, yes, it's difficult to hold the pose for a long time in the beginning, but I find it to be the easiest way of melting off weight and becoming, more, whichever you're looking for, at peace, serene if you're looking for, a clarity within, tapping into higher consciousness. It does all of the above, and I just adore it. So if anyone wants to get in on it, literally you can start by doing what would be an extended modified, maybe for elderly or pregnant. I can talk you through the voiceover. So I will put a voiceover and talk about how you can just even, do downward dog or, the warrior pose, and just not go all fully engaged until you're ready. So anyway, guys, I'm excited to continue this, and I'm stoked. I already see the difference, like in trying on pants and things like that. Not really into scales, weighing myself, because it's not about that. It's not really about the pant size either. It's about staying healthy and not having my carotid artery get blocked like my father and now my father-in-law. So guys, thanks for letting me vent and talk about the funeral and talk about everything that I'm doing, both positive and negative, and I wish you nothing but positive vibage. Tons of positive vibes, love, and light, guys.